Ladies and gentlemen, it is my opinion that if you learn the rules of chess, the next thing you should be taught is this game. This took place between two grandmasters, and the first move is the very sophisticated a4. And of course, white's idea is to play knight b3, an unstoppable threat, and black is completely lost in this position with all their pieces on the back rank. I mean, what are their pawns doing? Just standing next to each other or hugging each other. It is a completely lost position for black, and honestly, this is where you should resign. Because there's not much you can do. Of course, you can attempt to prolong mate, but you can be sure that white knows his theory. So he plays the main line, e5, attempting to open up the bishop, and white responds with the main line, knight a3. So this has many different threats. I can't go into all of them, but of course one of the threats would be knight b5, and then of course knight c7, which has a fork on the king and the rook. So the best move in that position would be to play king e7 and then lose your rook. So that is one of the unstoppable threats that come with this. But as you can see, black, very principled, takes the center, and this is a losing blunder. This reduces it from about mate in 169 to about mate in 69. So this is a pretty bad blunder on black's behalf. However, white needs to know their theory, as we've already gone away from all of the positions that have taken place before this game. So does white know their theory? And of course they do. They play h4, a flank pawn push attack on black's king, as you can see, which is right in the center. And the queen cannot take the pawn, by the way, because it's guarded by the rook. If you didn't see that, don't worry, we all learn. Now, of course, black is now playing the main line out of a completely lost position. They play bishop d6, top engine choice. White, extremely principled. If you do something on one side, you have to do it on the other. Knight h3. A fantastic move, preparing the exact same threat, but this time with a fork, unstoppable fork on the queen and the rook. So as you can see, black spots that the pawn is now up for grabs. However, you can't actually take that pawn, as we will see later in the game. It leads to a forced checkmate, and now if you play this perfectly with black and white, it is about forced mate in 53, it says. So will white find it, and will black play the main line? We'll see. So as you can see, rook b1, this is the best move in the position. Black sees the threat of rook b1, so has to run the queen back because he doesn't want to lose the queen. So now we can see white just really taking it home, pushing that pawn forward. You can see that the bishop is attacking it. However, it's not really under threat. You can't really take that pawn because it will just lead to a faster mate. And of course, black doesn't know his theory and takes the pawn. So this is a losing blunder. And as you can see, we do it on the other side as well, because if you can do something on one side and it's good, you have to do it on the other side. That's how chess works. So we play b4, a really fantastic move. Chess.com actually gave it double exclamation mark, brilliant move. And you can see why. I mean, the threat is very clear. You want to play b5, a5, b6, and completely open up the black position. And I mean, it was already completely lost on move one. Well, now it's even more lost. So now black attempts to run their queen away from the side that's being attacked, but really it's a lost cause. So as we can see, we're just going to get some normal looking moves. So as you can see, does that not hang? Oh no, it doesn't. So as we can see, mainline stuff, rook g1, and you can't take the knight. That would lead to a faster forced mate after the bishop would take the knight, the bishop. So the bishop retreats, and as you can see, black, I mean, what are they doing? They have kept all their pieces just at the back there doing nothing. They look visually good, but they're not doing anything. Like that dark square bishop is literally staring into like a wall on all sides. So I don't really know where black is going with this. So as we can see, white sees the infiltration on the G file and really takes it. It's up for grabs. So as you can see, on the engine it says mate in 37 now, but black is unlikely to play this perfectly. They've already played a few losing blunders, taking it down all the way from mate in 169, and now it's mate in 30 something. So we see black take this pawn, and this is another losing blunder. You cannot take the pawn. It is not free. And black doesn't realize this, that they're being infiltrated on the back rank and they are not doing anything about it. So, of course, white jumps in to the infiltration because black has simply let them to. This is not mainline at all. Do not play like black, guys. White is playing all the mainline stuff, top engine moves. So, as we can see, black trades off their bishop for the knight, and white doesn't even take it because he realizes that there is an unstoppable mate threat, and he's foreseen all this. So as we can see, white has been thinking for 14 seconds, and black has thought for... Black is really low on time right now. They're down 17 seconds, so this is looking bad for black. They're down on time. It looks like they're up 4 points, but they're really not. It's forced mate, and white has definitely seen this through. So the black bishop retreats as it took the knight and was not captured. So this is mainline. The bishop is there to protect the pawn on c7 after it gets attacked by more of white's pieces. But as we can see, the abomination of a move, knight e6, completely infiltrating black's plan and completely compromising their structure. As we can see, if you take with the pawn, you lose the queen, which is almost unstoppable, but white takes with the queen, which is another losing blunder, by the way. It's mate in like 18. So after this, all the mainline stuff. So black has made enough losing blunders, and now they can see through. So now we play bishop b2, obviously lining up on the rook on the h8 square, and black tries to defend it by moving the knight out, but they cannot castle. Their king is wide open in the middle, and really this is completely strategically lost. It's mate in 17 now. So of course, if you can do something on one side, you do it on the other. So, of course, that bishop g2, only natural. And now you can see how bad black's position is. That was the best move, to run the king out into the center. This is a horrible, horrible position for black. I mean, if this was an endgame, then perhaps, I mean, you want an active king, but really this is not good at all. So as we can see, white utilizes this compromised structure of black and black's open vulnerable king to run his queen to the corner, so it has open lines all over the board and can get to basically any square in 3 or less moves. So as we can see, black attempts to trade off rooks, and white actually mainline takes the rook. This is known as a clearance sacrifice. You need to clear off something on that square so you can make an opening for your other pieces. So this allows white other pieces to swarm the king. So if I skip ahead a few moves, as we can see, boom, and now this is the clearance sacrifice. The king is now forced to run around the board, and this is basically game over. I mean, it's mate in 9. Pause if you think you can find it, but of course white knows what he's doing. So the king runs over here, and this is completely dead lost. So of course, a very good move by white. e4, very instructive. As you can see, if you take it, then you will get forked, and black doesn't see it. So now, as you can see, if white pushes d5, it is just a brilliant fork where the queen attacks the king, and the queen is completely lost. So this is just horrible. So the best move in the position, obviously this. If you're wondering why queen e5 wasn't played, that would just be a faster mate. So yeah, no need to reason through that. So best move in the position, and black has officially lost their queen. This is completely lost. And I mean, black with no humility whatsoever takes the pawn back for no reason. They're completely lost. White, of course, takes the bishop to swarm the king. It wasn't necessary. In fact, you could have definitely played rook b7, then rook b5, but instead he takes this approach. So he takes the knight, and then he goes. He's attempting to go c5. But in fact, he takes this other pawn, and he understands that his queen and his rook can team up together against the king. And from now, it's just a mate in 4. So black tries to desperately defend, but honestly, it's completely lost. So as we can see, white creates a mating net around the king. Now it is forced into these 12 squares between f and h and 5 and 8, so this is completely lost. Black runs their king into the center, thinking that the pawn will defend it somehow, but no, this is completely lost. White checks the king, king runs into the center, and then we have a final breakthrough with the queen arriving, about to mate the king. And black here really should resign. They have one move, and it's fairly obvious that white knows that they're going to checkmate their opponent. Both players with quite low time, but this position is lost, and white should have resigned on move 1, although he offers to get checkmated. So what can we learn from this? If anyone plays a4 against you, you should just resign. If you're black on the spot, you should resign, because the other player probably knows all their theory and you're going to get decimated. So instead of losing like that, it's far better to just accept that you're going to lose. Anyway, that was one of the greatest chess games ever played, as you can see, ending with black getting brutally destroyed on the h-file, his king running all the way out. And yeah, that is how you win at chess. Thank you for watching.